to order of the City of Laredo Historic District Landmark Board. We are meeting in City Council Chambers, September the 8th, 2022, and it is 12:08 p.m. p.m. All right, may we have the roll call?
Yes, Madam Chair. Rebecca Sepulveda,
Present.
Robert Gonzalez, Maria Elena Morales,
Present.
Cristina Davila Villarreal, Wayne Nance,
Here.
Stanley Green,
Here.
Priscilla Iglesias,
Here.
Mark Gonzalez. Madam Chair, for the record, you do have one.
Thank you very much. Next item is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item is approval of minutes of the regular meeting of August 11, 2022. They are in your packet. Are there any changes or revisions?
No, that's what happened. I move to approve the minutes.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Second. All in favor of approval of the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you. Next item is citizen comments. Do we have anyone signed up for that?
Madam Chair, don't do that.
Thank you very much. Next item, public hearing and consideration of the following. Public hearing and consideration of a motion to approve the construction of a new commercial new commercial structures, PNC Bank and ATMs, and the erection of multiple attached and freestanding signs on Lot 4, 5, 6, and 7, Block 44, Western Division, located at 805 and 801 Farragut Street and 700 San Bernardo Avenue in the Old Mercado Historic District. Do I hear a motion to open the public hearing?
So move.
Oh, of course, yes. Well, pardon.
Thank you. It was not again. Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, the applicant is PNC Bank National Association owner and applicant. Charles Matango is the representative. On Block 44, Western Division, located at 805 and 801 Farragut and 700 San Bernardo Avenue in the HAE, Historic Arts and Entertainment, within the Old Mercado Historic District. Requesting board approval is the construction of new PNC Bank at the corner of Santa Ursula and Hidalgo Street, construction of the PNC automated teller machines, ATMs, and the erection of multiple attached and freestanding signs. Letters sent were 15-4-0 against 0. Aerial view. Street view from Hidalgo Street. Side view from Santa Ursula Avenue. Side view from Farragut Street. The carriage house located on the property. Site plan. Line site studies viewpoints. Viewpoint 1. Viewpoint 2. Viewpoint 3. And viewpoint 4. Elevations. Proposed materials. PNC Bank reference to an existing structure. Proposed freestanding horizontal pylon sign. Proposed attached sign. Proposed ATMs. Examples of the proposed ATMs. Staff recommendations. Staff supports the proposed scope of work for the proposed construction of the PNC Bank at the corner of Santa Ursula Avenue and Hidalgo Street, and the erection of multiple attached freestanding signs in the following ways. The proposed new construction of the PNC Bank uses materials that are compatible with other historic buildings within the historic district. Thus, it preserves the on-site historic structure present, as it is in conformance to the Secretary of Interior standards for the treatment of historic properties with guidelines for preserving, rehabilitating, restoring, and reconstructing historic buildings. The proposed materials will contribute a visual continuity of the district, as it is in conformance with the Secretary of Interior standards for the treatment of historic properties with guidelines for preserving, rehabilitating, restoring, and reconstructing historic buildings. The attached signing complies with the City of Laredo Historic Urban Design Guidelines. Business signs on buildings shall be limited to signs for corner lots. Staff recommendations. Staff supports the proposed scope of work for the construction of the PNC automated teller machines, ATMs, conditional to the construction of only 2 ATMs furthest from the carriage house, as shown in the site plan, shall be allowed. The structural integrity report on the carriage house shall be submitted to the City of Laredo Planning Department before construction of the proposed ATM nearest to the carriage house. If a structural integrity report concludes that the third proposed ATM will not compromise the stability of the carriage house, then staff supports the third proposed ATM. Staff comments regarding the carriage house. A structural integrity report on the carriage house should be submitted to the City of Laredo Planning Department before initiating any repairs or renovations. Any cleaning should be conducted with the most gentle care. A small area of the carriage house should be tested for power washing to determine the historic masonry will not be damaged. Power washing of historic masonry should be used in moderate amounts of pressure. Pressure may not exceed 200 to 400 psi. The carriage house should be thoroughly dried out before any painting of the structure. Highly vapor permeable paint shall be used to prevent spalling and interior mold. Staff general comments. Any improvements which are approved by the Historic District Landmark Board shall also comply with the building code requirements and other regulations as provided by the Laredo Development Code. Approval to the Historic District Board does not guarantee approval of a building permit and any other permits which may be required. It is recommended that all existing improvements utilize the following resources: the Secretary of Interior standards, rehabilitation, and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings, the City of Laredo Historic Urban Design Guidelines, and the City of Laredo Historic Preservation Plan. Proposed motion. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So, Madam Chair, just to let you know, we've been working with the applicant through this process since the last time we met. One of I think they agreed that we had said that we didn't think we saw enough effort put in to try to match the building and what have you. They since came back with a color scheme for the building itself, which we thought matches as much as we can match the older building, so it has some kind of historic connection to the plaza, to the big building. As far as the project goes, we're happy with the fact that they help to try to encourage that historic conservation, or at least to create some kind of connection between the building and their new building. The only concern I had was that ATM, they want to put 3 ATMs, the one that nearest the historic carriage building. And we had talked before about this, about maybe the vibrations, what could happen to that building. The applicant agreed to have a structural engineer review the building, and at that point, when we had that documentation sealed by an engineer, structural engineer, at that time, we could release the fact that they could put a third ATM. But I was very concerned about that, and I'd rather have a structural engineer clear it before we did anything, which they agreed that they wouldn't do any building or moving of anything until that report was done. And then that would help determine whether we can or not. And if it's not, if it's a dangerous situation, then we'll talk to the client. I don't think the client has a problem with that at that point, if you can't do anything. But we just asked that they could wait for that study to be done. So that's where we stand right now, so if you want to ask any questions.
Okay, I see nodding, so you're in agreement with the staff recommendation? Yes.
Yes.
And if you would like to open the public hearing.
Oh, she did.
Pardon me.
Oh, she did? Oh, I didn't, sorry, I didn't hear.
Yes, so Orlando and I spoke yesterday in regards to the carriage house, and yes, the goal is to have a seismic study done. A professional structural engineer will be on site actually this week to do a full study on the carriage house. So we will make sure that the house will stay intact for the next 100 years. We also have our civil engineer run seismic calculations before, after, and during construction to make sure that the material that we use is far and above secure for the carriage house. So we'll ensure the structural stability. We'll get the report done, which will probably be done in the next couple weeks. At that point, we will share with the building team so we can review pre-CD submittal so that we're all on the same page regarding the scope of work, building materials, scope of work for the carriage house, all the good stuff to make sure that once we do submit for the CD set, we are all in agreement.
Right.
So,
May I have your name, please?
Charles Pantenko with PNC.
So last meeting, there was some concern, some of our members were concerned about perhaps a vehicle being too close to it or colliding potentially with the building. Is that something been addressed in that?
Yes, ma'am. So what we did, if you could, Laura, bring up the site plan. Yep, right there. That one right there. So what we did was we took everything that you guys said in consideration, all the way down from the finished materials down to the configuration of our 3 ATMs. So what we did here was we shifted the ATMs further northwest by about, what was it, Dana, about 2 feet? 2 to 4 feet northwest. So the actual turning radius will now be, you're gonna have a lot more stacking length. Additionally, you're gonna have a lot better turning radius. And not only will it help with that, but also one of your concerns was the sight line from Santa Ursula. So Laura, if you could shift to viewpoint from Santa Ursula going south, you'll see going south on Santa Ursula, not only is the turning radius better here, but also the view you can see as cars go by.
You have the control from the mouse.
Oh, I do, okay.
I think you can.
Oh, here it is. So you can see here, this is the actual Google Earth right in the middle of the street as your vehicle going south. We made it a point to 3 things. Number 1, keep the view from vehicles going south to have a perfect linear sight of the carriage house. Number 2, we shifted the ATMs northwest, as you can see, to the further right in this picture. And number 3, we brought the sign down from 18 feet down to 15 feet, which is now in city code, also shifted to the right. So now you can see a perfect view of the carriage house from Santa Ursula going south.
And the ATMs are lower profile signage ATMs.
Correct. So if you recall from our previous August 11th meeting, we had these towers above our ATMs that were 20 feet, 22 feet tall. And so what we did was we went down to our lower stack model where basically not only is it lower, but it's actually open. So you can actually see through the ATM. As you can see in the little lower right, you can see through the ATM, so you can actually see the carriage house better from the lower angle, but also from the higher angle. So we took multiple considerations into this and did our best we could with the site plan study, along with the site plan that I just showed you and the other views, which we
And
can.
the bollards around the carriages.
Yes, and so what we did, let me go back to the site plan here. Okay, so in the center of the site plan, you can see is the carriage house. And so what we propose is we're gonna have impact bollards around, in probably the 4 quadrants highest prone to impact. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna tie those impact bollards in to make it look really pretty into the black fencing, which will also go around the carriage house to match the best we can of the existing fence along Farragut, down Santa Ursula, and Hidalgo Street. So it's all very, like Orlando says, it comes together, right? So, does that answer your question?
Yes, Deb.
Okay, perfect.
Are there any other questions from the board?
No, I'm looking at, I know that I brought up the line of sight, and you moved it a couple feet to the northwest, and that takes care of that. I also am comparing last month's presentation, and I see that you took the higher element of your PNC Bank icon and just eliminated it, so it's stopping at the, at just that little what do you call it? I forget.
Canopy?
Yeah, apron, canopy, yeah, there you go.
Right.
And no, I do see that there's been an effort to improve that line of sight, from my point of view. I understand that the bricks have also been addressed. So no, you answered my question, thank you.
Would you like to share the samples?
Yes, if you don't mind, I do have the samples to provide.
And so while she's passing that around, we've been working with the building team here to make sure that the choices that we're sending over to you is the best interpretation of what we can provide on this product. Every effort is to tie in the historical
This is the gray part.
PNC building into our new building. So you'll see in this rendering here,
Yes, so if you don't.
you'll see here the red brick tie into the pavers, that tie into the pavers on the carriage house, that tie into our PNC building 200 yards west of us. This building here. So what we did was we went through our color palette on that product that you see, and we basically chose the best one that we thought would fit best with this color scheme here, right? So you can see just a comparison there.
We had asked for the samples because sometimes you can't see on the computer the color.
That's the Robert E. Lee Hotel there.
Yes.
Thank you.
In this viewpoint, you can also see there was a corner orange PNC sign that has been revised to corner glass.
Right, we
Open up
took
the
we took the comments about too many brand logos. So we took the southeast corner large logo off. So now the PNC signage is to code. We have just the 2 building signs as we are a corner building. Based on that, yeah, so we took that into consideration, and now we only have 2, along with the sign in the northeast corner.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Me.
We appreciate the effort to support our concerns for the historic values and the historic structure.
No, thank you for your time. Again, PNC's been here for quite some time, right? And,
Yes.
our goal is definitely to be a good partner, continue the growth here in Laredo. We love the area and look forward to plenty more times here to come. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So I'd like to entertain a motion to close the public
Motion
hearing
closes.
and to,
Take action pending the report.
can we see the proposed wording for the motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Because it's not in our packet. Is that right?
Well, the proposed,
Your proposed wording for the motion.
okay, if they can put the presentation back on. proposed motion, yes.
Okay, so it does not include your conditions. Do we have to stipulate the conditions that you mentioned in your discussions?
Yeah, Wayne, I mean, I don't know how you want to say this, but, motion to approve and then, subject to,
I don't have the conditions that you'd made that you said that they have agreed
I
to.
mean, I don't know if it's a condition, we just want I guess, a status from the structural engineer. And if they get clearance from that, so they can put their third, ATM. But I don't know how you want to word it because it's not really a,
Okay.
if you don't get that, you don't,
I think we can say that we are supporting staff recommendations and those conditions that staff has.
Yes, yes. I feel that, I understand what staff went against, but I feel that there has been an effort.
So if we just
In the right direction.
general support the staff recommendation, I think would be inclusive of
Yes.
those. Okay. So there is a motion to close the public hearing
Yes.
and to approve with staff
Following the
approve the
staff
staff
wording.
recommendations. Is that correct?
That would do it.
So, Dr. Green is making the motion. Is there a second?
Second? A second?
Ms. Morales, so we have a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone
Support.
opposed?
Is that sufficient for you all? Because there was some does not support items in there that we're supporting.
right, no, that, once again, we didn't have any problems other than that one ATM. And so, we came to an agreement that there's no construction until the structural engineer seals the
All right.
project, and then we can move
So
forward.
that's revised from what we have here. I don't know if you understood that before we sat down.
Yeah,
They
okay.
explained that
Yes,
Yes,
more
because we did
discussion
have a
took
meeting
place
yesterday.
after our packet was created.
Yes.
And that is the new staff recommendation.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Thank you for
We
that.
support
That's exactly what happened.
So, and I see that that specifically addresses the ATMs, but we are supporting staff recommendation for both the new construction of the building and the ATMs.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
It got kind of complicated.
Yes.
Yes, that motion, yes. If that's what we voted on, I'm in
Yeah,
agreement.
they actually don't like me because I went through this.
Very good. Okay, thank you very much. So,
Thank you.
do we have further business?
Can I say something?
Yes.
I'm a downtown person, so I'm glad that you are investing and doing something in the downtown area, and it looks very nice. Look forward to seeing it built.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I know there's usually comments from staff, but we don't have that on the agenda. Is that right?
We don't have anything in the discussion.
Madam Chair, we don't have any comments.
Okay, and I know there's no place for us to comment, but I mentioned to staff when we received our calls that we are missing some members, and the vice chair is no longer on the board, and so we don't have a vice chair elected. So if we can consider adding that to the next agenda.
Absolutely. In fact,
I really don't-
October is typically when we make nominations.
Very good.
So it's in line with our schedule, so
Okay,
that
very
works out
good.
great.
Very good. Well, some of us may or may not be here. So I don't know how much longer we,
Right.
yeah.
Well, with the way the elections go and then runoffs,
We might
still
be here past
be here for a little
November.
bit.
I will not. It was appointed by the mayor, so he's,
No, there's will be runoffs in the mayoral race.
yes, but the mayor is not running, our mayor's
Oh,
reached his term limits.
well, yeah, but you still have to wait to see who's
gets
gonna
it.
appoint, who's the mayor and who's
Very
gonna
good
appoint.
point.
Not unless you contest that. His term limits
Oh, dear.
seems to be going around.
That sounds scary.
Let's not encourage that.
Thank you very much. So do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So move.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Done.
Well, that was good.
Thank you again.
Yeah.
Nice job.